A modest two-story home with a well-maintained garden sits quietly in the afternoon sun. A silver sedan pulls into the driveway and stops. Alex Carter, 28, thoughtful and introspective, sits in the driver's seat with his hands gripping the steering wheel, staring at the house that was once his home. His phone buzzes with a text from Dad that reads, "Can't wait to see you, son. Sarah's making your favorite dinner." Alex closes his eyes and takes a deep breath, steeling himself for what's to come. "You can do this," he whispers to himself before getting out of the car, retrieving a duffel bag from the trunk, and walking toward the front door with measured steps. The door opens before Alex can knock, revealing David Carter, 55, a successful architect with genuine warmth in his eyes. He beams with joy and pulls his son into a bear hug that speaks of 3 years of missed embraces. There he is. "How was the drive from Seattle?" David asks, his voice filled with paternal pride. Alex responds with a tired smile. "Long traffic was murder coming through Portland." From the kitchen emerges Sarah Wells Carter, 32, intelligent and beautiful, wiping her hands on a dish towel. The moment she and Alex lock eyes, the air crackles with electric tension and unresolved history. She's more stunning than Alex remembered, but there's something guarded and careful in her expression now, like someone walking on thin ice. "Hello, Alex," she says simply, her voice carefully neutral. "Sarah," he responds, equally measured. An awkward pause stretches between them, heavy with unsaid words and buried emotions. David, oblivious to the undercurrent of tension, claps his hands together with enthusiasm. "Well, isn't this perfect? My two favorite people in the same room. Sarah's been cooking all afternoon. That lasagna you used to demolish in college." Sarah forces a smile that doesn't quite reach her eyes. "I wasn't sure if you still liked it." "People's tastes change," she says, the words carrying double meaning. Alex meets her gaze directly, his response loaded with subtext. "Some things never change." Another moment of charged silence passes before David, still missing the deeper conversation happening beneath the surface, gestures toward the stairs. "Come on, let me show you the renovations we did to your old room." Sarah had some brilliant ideas about the lighting. Alex's old bedroom, continuous. The room has been completely transformed from the teenage sanctuary Alex once knew. It's more mature now, with warm lighting and tasteful decor that speaks of Sarah's influence. The bed is made with expensive linens, artwork adorns the walls, and everything feels carefully curated. "What do you think?" "Sarah said we should keep it ready for whenever you visit," David says with pride. Alex takes it all in, feeling like a stranger in his own childhood space. "It's different," he manages. "Good different, I hope. I know it's been too long since you've been home. Work keeping you busy?" David asks, settling onto the bed and patting the space beside him in invitation. Alex reluctantly joins his father, the mattress creaking under their combined weight. "Something like that," Alex responds vaguely. David's expression grows more serious, his voice taking on the careful tone of a man navigating delicate territory. "Son, I know this is complicated. When Sarah and I got together, I worried about how you'd feel." Alex tenses immediately, his shoulders drawing up defensively. "Dad," he starts, but David holds up a hand. "Let me finish. I know you two dated in college. Ancient history, right? But I need to know you're okay with this. With us." The question hangs in the air like smoke, and Alex finds himself staring out the window at the familiar neighborhood where he grew up. "Are you happy?" Alex asks instead of answering, turning the question back on his father. David's entire face lights up with genuine joy. "Happier than I've been since your mother died. Sarah. She brought light back into this house. Into my life." The words hit Alex like a physical blow, but he swallows his own pain and nods. "Then that's what matters," he says quietly. David looks relieved, as if a weight has been lifted from his shoulders. "I knew you'd understand. You always were the mature one. Dinner's in an hour, gives you time to settle in." After David leaves, Alex falls back on the bed, covering his face with his hands as the reality of the situation washes over him. Carter House kitchen later. Sarah stands at the stove, stirring pasta sauce with methodical precision, lost in thought. The kitchen smells of herbs and garlic, familiar and homey. Alex appears in the doorway, his presence immediately changing the energy in the room. Need help, he offers. Sarah doesn't turn around, her shoulders rigid with tension. I've got it handled, she replies curtly. Sarah, we should talk, Alex says, stepping further into the kitchen. Should we? She asks, finally turning to face him. The years have been kind to her, accentuating her natural beauty, but Alex notices the shadows under her eyes, and the way she holds herself like someone ready to flee at any moment. What would we talk about, Alex? How I broke up with you in a text message. How I married your father 6 months later. How I haven't seen you in 3 years because you can't stand to be in the same room as me. Her words come out in a rush, years of pent-up frustration finally finding voice. Alex flinches at each accusation, but he doesn't back down. All of that, maybe, he says quietly. Sarah lets out a bitter laugh that has no humor in it. Where do we even start? She asks. How about with why? Alex responds, his voice steady despite the storm of emotions inside him. Sarah sets down the wooden spoon with deliberate care, her composure beginning to crack like ice under pressure. Why what? Why I fell in love with your father. Why I ended things with you? She asks, her voice rising slightly. Why you threw away everything we had? Alex says, the words coming out more accusatory than he intended. Sarah's eyes flash with anger and hurt. Everything we had? Alex, we were kids playing house. You were 25 and terrified of commitment. Every time I brought up the future, you changed the subject like it was on fire. I wasn't ready. Alex starts, but Sarah cuts him off. And I was tired of waiting. I was tired of being the only one who wanted more. The kitchen timer chooses that moment to go off, its shrill beeping cutting through the tension. Sarah turns back to the stove, using the interruption as an excuse to break eye contact and compose herself. Your father. He knew what he wanted from day one. When we met at that gallery opening, he didn't play games. He was direct, honest about his feelings. She continues, her voice steadier now but still edged with pain. So you just transferred your affections? Like changing trains? Alex asks, unable to keep the bitterness out of his voice. Sarah whirls around, her eyes blazing. You think this was easy for me? You think I don't know how screwed up this whole situation is? They're standing close now, close enough that Alex can smell her perfume. The same one she used to wear when they were together. The old chemistry crackles between them like electricity before a storm. But I'm not 28 anymore, Alex. I couldn't wait forever for you to figure out what you wanted. I know what I wanted. I wanted you, Alex says, his voice dropping to almost a whisper. Sarah's expression softens for just a moment before hardening again. You wanted the idea of me, the convenience of me, but you didn't want to build a life with me. Before Alex can respond, David's voice booms from the living room. How's that dinner coming along? Sarah and Alex spring apart as if they've been caught in something forbidden. The spell broken by reality crashing back in. 5 more minutes. Sarah calls back, her voice artificially bright. She looks at Alex, her expression closing off like shutters being drawn. This conversation is over, she says with finality. Carter House dining room night. The 3 of them sit around the dining room table, the one where Alex ate countless family dinners as a child. David dominates the conversation with his characteristic enthusiasm, completely oblivious to the tension crackling between Alex and Sarah like a live wire. So Sarah's been helping me with the Morrison project. You remember the Morrisons? They want to add a guest house to their property, David says between bites of lasagna. Alex looks at Sarah with surprise. I thought you were in marketing, he says. Sarah meets his gaze briefly before looking away. I've been taking some design courses. Your father's been very encouraging. David beams with pride, reaching over to squeeze Sarah's hand affectionately. She's got a real eye for it. Natural talent. Alex pushes food around his plate, appetite gone. That's great. Really? He says, the words feeling hollow in his mouth. David's expression grows more concerned as he studies his son. What about you? Still enjoying the tech world? He asks. Alex shrugs non-committally. It pays the bills. That's not what I asked, David presses gently. Alex looks up, meeting his father's concerned gaze and seeing the genuine care there. Honestly, I'm thinking about a change. Maybe going back to school, Alex admits. Sarah's fork freezes halfway to her mouth. For what? She asks. Counseling. Therapy. Helping people work through complicated situations, Alex says, his eyes finding Sarah's across the table. She nearly chokes on her wine, coughing as the liquid goes down wrong. David, meanwhile, is beaming with paternal pride. That's wonderful. You always were good at listening, understanding people's problems. Alex continues to look at Sarah as he responds. Sometimes understanding isn't enough. Sometimes you need to know when to let go. Sarah excuses herself to get dessert, her hands shaking slightly as she rises from the table. Alex watches her go, noting the way she moves with careful control, like someone walking a tightrope. The kitchen door swings shut behind her, and for a moment there's just the sound of David finishing his meal and the distant clatter of dishes being prepared. Carter House back Pattonite. Alex sits alone on the old porch swing where he used to read as a teenager, nursing a beer and staring out at the darkened yard. The night is quiet except for the distant sound of traffic and the gentle creaking of the swing's chains. Sarah emerges from the house with a cup of tea, steam rising from the mug in the cool evening air. Mind if I sit? She asks quietly. Alex shrugs, a gesture that could mean anything. She settles on the opposite end of the swing, maintaining careful distance between them. Your father's asleep. Big day at the office tomorrow, Sarah says, breaking the silence. The swing moves gently with their combined weight, a rhythm as familiar as breathing. Alex takes a long pull of his beer before speaking. Sarah, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be honest. She looks at him warily. Okay. Do you love him? The question hangs in the air between them like a challenge. Sarah stares out at the darkened yard, at the garden she now tends, at the life she's built here. A long pause stretches between them, filled with cricket song and the distant hum of the city. That's not fair, she finally says, her voice barely above a whisper. It's a simple question, Alex presses. No, it isn't. Nothing about this is simple, Sarah responds, her grip tightening on her teacup. Alex won't let it go. Do you love him the way you loved me? The question is barely audible, but it cuts through the night air like a blade. No, Sarah admits quietly, the single word carrying the weight of years of complicated emotions. The admission hangs in the air between them, dangerous and electric. But love isn't just passion and butterflies, Alex. Sometimes it's comfort and stability and knowing someone will be there when you wake up. Sarah continues, her voice gaining strength. Alex's response is immediate and sharp. That's not love. That's settling. Sarah turns to look at him, her eyes flashing. Maybe. But settling for your father is better than waiting forever for you. I would have come around, Alex says, but even he doesn't sound entirely convinced. When? Sarah challenges. We dated for 2 years. 2 years of me hoping, waiting, making excuses for why you couldn't talk about marriage or kids or even living together. I was scared, Alex admits, the words coming out like a confession. Of what? Sarah asks, and there's genuine curiosity in her voice now, not just anger. Alex is quiet for so long that Sarah begins to think he won't answer. When he finally speaks, his voice is raw with honesty. Of becoming my father. Sarah turns to look at him, surprised by the vulnerability in his admission. After Mom died, he fell apart. Completely. For 3 years, I held this family together while he disappeared into his work. I watched him date woman after woman, trying to fill that hole she left behind. Alex, Sarah starts, but he continues, the words pouring out of him now like water from a broken dam. I was terrified that if I let myself love you completely, if I opened up that way, I'd end up like him if I lost you. Broken and desperate. Sarah's expression softens as understanding dawns. So instead you lost me anyway, she says gently. Yeah. Instead I lost me anyway. Alex agrees, his voice thick with regret. They sit in silence for a moment, the swing moving gently beneath them, both lost in their own thoughts. For what it's worth, your father isn't broken anymore. You did that. You held him together until he could find his way back, Sarah says finally. Alex looks at her with surprise. And you're his way back? He asks. I'm part of it. But Alex, he found his way back because he had something to live for. He had you. He has you now, Alex points out. He has both of us. Or he could if you'd let him, Sarah responds, her voice gentle but firm. Int. Carter House, Alex's bedroom, late night. Alex lies in his transformed childhood bedroom, staring at the ceiling and listening to the familiar sounds of the house settling around him. His phone buzzes on the nightstand with a text from Sarah. Can't sleep either? He looks at the message for a long moment, his thumb hovering over the keyboard. Finally, he deletes the message without responding, setting the phone aside and closing his eyes. Int. Carter House, kitchen, morning. Alex comes downstairs to find David at the counter making coffee, the early morning light streaming through the kitchen windows. There's no sign of Sarah, and the house feels different without her presence. Morning, son. Sleep well? David asks, looking up from the coffee maker. Where's Sarah? Alex asks instead of answering. Early client meeting. Left about an hour ago, David responds, pouring Alex a cup of coffee and studying his son's face with parental concern. You look like hell, David observes with characteristic bluntness. Thanks for the pep talk, Alex responds dryly, accepting the coffee gratefully. David isn't deterred by his son's sarcasm. Alex, what's really going on? And don't say nothing. I may be old, but I'm not blind. Alex takes a long sip of coffee, using the time to gather his thoughts and decide how much truth he can handle sharing. Do you ever wonder if you're doing the right thing? He finally asks. Every day. Comes with being human. Why? David responds, settling into the chair across from his son. What if the right thing for you is the wrong thing for everyone else? Alex asks, staring into his coffee cup as if it might hold answers. David considers this carefully, recognizing the weight behind his son's question. That's a hell of a question. You want to be more specific? I'm thinking about moving back to Portland, taking a job there, Alex says, finally meeting his father's eyes. David's face lights up with genuine pleasure. That's great. You'd be closer to home. Would it be? Or would it just make things more complicated? Alex asks, his voice heavy with uncertainty. David studies his son's face, reading the signs he's learned to recognize over the years. This is about Sarah, he says, and it's not a question. Alex starts to protest, but David cuts him off with a raised hand. I'm not stupid, Alex. I know there's history between you two. More history than either of you wants to admit. Then why, Alex begins. Why did I marry her? David finishes. Because I love her. Because she makes me happy. Because life is short and uncertain. And I learned that lesson the hard way when your mother died. David leans forward, his expression growing more serious. But mostly because I thought I could trust both of you to put the past behind you. We have, Alex insists, but the words ring hollow even to his own ears. Have you? Then why are you talking about running away again? David's words hit Alex like a physical blow. I'm not running away, Alex protests. What do you call it? You disappeared for 3 years, Alex. 3 years of missed holidays, missed birthdays, 5-minute phone calls, and excuses about work. I needed space, Alex says weakly. From what? From me? From her? From your own feelings? David challenges. Alex stands abruptly, pacing to the window and staring out at the street where he learned to ride a bike, where he had his first kiss, where he thought he understood how the world worked. Your mother used to say that running away from your problems is just another form of staying in the same place. David continues, his voice gentler now. Mom's been gone for 8 years, Dad, Alex says, not turning around. But her wisdom hasn't. Sit down, son. Reluctantly, Alex returns to the table, feeling like a child being called to account for his actions. When I first met Sarah, she told me about you. About your relationship, how it ended. She was honest about her feelings, David says. Alex feels his stomach clench. What did she say? That she had loved someone who wasn't ready to love her back. That she was tired of being in love alone. The words hit Alex like a punch to the gut, each one finding its mark with devastating accuracy. But she also said something else. She said that sometimes the timing is just wrong, and there's nothing you can do about it except learn to let go. David continues. And you were okay with that? Knowing she had feelings for your son? Alex asks, his voice strained. Had Alex? Past tense. She chose me. Not because I was second best, but because I was ready to choose her back. They sit in heavy silence, the weight of years of unspoken truth settling between them like dust. I need to ask you something and I need the truth, David says finally. Alex nods, bracing himself. Are you still in love with my wife? The question hangs in the air like a sword waiting to fall. Alex opens his mouth, closes it, struggles with the truth he's been avoiding even in his own mind. I don't know, he finally admits. That's honest at least, David says. Dad, I would never. Alex starts, but David interrupts. I know you wouldn't. That's not what I'm worried about. Then what? Alex asks. I'm worried about you, son. I'm worried that you're going to spend the rest of your life running from this, from us, from any chance at happiness. David's words settle over Alex like a heavy blanket, and he realizes that his father sees him more clearly than he sees himself. XD. Portland Riverside Day. Alex walks along the waterfront, the city skyline reflected in the river's surface. He has his phone pressed to his ear, his free hand shoved deep in his jacket pocket. Dr. Rodriguez? It's Alex Carter. I know it's short notice, but would you have time to see me today? He says into the phone, his voice carrying a note of desperation he tries to hide. Int. Therapist's office day. The office is warm and comfortable, filled with soft lighting and the kind of furniture that invites honesty. Dr. Emma Rodriguez, 45, sits across from Alex with her notepad in hand, her expression professional but kind. She's the kind of therapist who makes people feel safe enough to tell the truth. It's been a while, Alex. How are you? She asks. Complicated. Alex responds without hesitation. The best kind of session. Tell me what's going on, Dr. Rodriguez says with a slight smile. Remember Sarah? The woman I was dating a few years back. Alex asks, his leg bouncing with nervous energy. Of course. The one you said you couldn't commit to, Dr. Rodriguez responds, making a note. She married my father, Alex says bluntly, watching for her reaction. Dr. Rodriguez's professional composure slips for just a moment, her eyebrows rising slightly. I see. How do you feel about that? She asks, her voice carefully neutral. Like I'm losing my mind, Alex admits. Tell me more, she encourages. Alex runs his hands through his hair, trying to organize thoughts that feel like scattered puzzle pieces. I went home for the first time in 3 years. Seeing them together, seeing how happy he is. I don't know what to do with that. What do you want to do with it? Dr. Rodriguez asks. Part of me wants to be happy for him. He's been through so much and he deserves happiness, Alex says. And the other part? She probes gently. The other part wants to tell her that I figured it out. That I'm ready now. That I understand what I threw away. Alex admits, the words tumbling out like a confession. And what would that accomplish? Dr. Rodriguez asks. Alex is quiet for a long moment. I don't know. Maybe nothing. Maybe everything. Dr. Rodriguez makes another note, her pen scratching against paper in the quiet office. Alex, do you remember what we talked about regarding your fear of commitment? She asks. You said I was afraid of being vulnerable, Alex responds. More specifically, she presses, that I was afraid of becoming my father after my mother died. Alex says, the connection becoming clearer even as he speaks it. And how did that fear serve you? Dr. Rodriguez asks. It didn't. It cost me the woman I loved, Alex realizes. But it also protected you from potential pain, she points out. Some protection. I'm in pain anyway, Alex says with bitter irony. The question is, what kind of pain? The pain of loss or the pain of regret? Dr. Rodriguez asks, her words cutting straight to the heart of the matter. Alex considers this, feeling like she's just handed him a key to a door he's been trying to open for years. What's the difference? He asks. Loss is something that happens to you. Regret is something you do to yourself. The words hit Alex like a revelation, reshaping his understanding of his own experience. You lost Sarah because you weren't ready to fight for her. Are you ready to fight now? Dr. Rodriguez asks. For what? She's married to my father, Alex says, but there's less defeat in his voice than before. I'm not suggesting you fight for her, Alex. I'm asking if you're ready to fight for your own happiness. For your relationship with your father. For a place in this family that doesn't require you to run away. Her words settle over him like a challenge and an invitation rolled into one. Int. Carter House living room evening. Alex returns to the house to find David and Sarah on the couch. Architectural plans spread across the coffee table between them. They look comfortable together, natural like a couple who has learned each other's rhythms. Sarah looks up as he enters. "How was your day in the city?" she asks, her voice carefully neutral. "Productive. Dad, can I talk to you?" Alex says, his voice carrying a new note of determination. "Of course," David responds, but Alex shakes his head. "Both of you, actually." Sarah and David exchange glances, something passing between them that speaks of the intimacy Alex has been excluded from. Alex sits in the chair across from them, feeling like he's about to jump off a cliff without knowing if there's water below. "I owe you both an apology. And an explanation," he begins. "Alex, you don't have to," David starts, but Alex holds up a hand. "Yes, I do. 3 years ago, when you two got together, I handled it badly. I disappeared instead of dealing with my feelings like an adult." "Alex," Sarah begins, but he continues, needing to get all the words out before he loses his courage. "Please let me finish. Sarah, what we had was real. It was important to me, more important than I was able to express at the time. But it's over. It has been for 3 years." He looks between them, seeing the relief beginning to dawn on their faces. "Dad, you asked me this morning if I was still in love with your wife. The honest answer is that I'll probably always love the woman she was when we were together. But she's not that woman anymore. She's your wife now. She's the woman who brought light back into your life. And that's who she chose to be." Sarah's eyes fill with tears, but she doesn't look away. "I can't keep punishing all of us for my mistakes. I can't keep running from this family because I'm afraid of being hurt." Alex continues, his voice growing stronger with each word. "Son," David starts, but Alex isn't finished. "I'm taking the job in Portland. Not because I'm running away, but because I want to be closer to home. To both of you. If you'll have me." David stands immediately, crossing the room to pull Alex into a fierce hug that speaks of years of worry and love. "Of course we'll have you," he says, his voice thick with emotion. Sarah wipes her eyes, standing as well. "Alex, I need you to know. What your father and I have, it's real. It's not some consolation prize," she says, her voice steady despite her tears. "I know. And I'm happy for you. Both of you," Alex responds, and for the first time in 3 years he means it. "Are you? Really?" Sarah asks, searching his face for the truth. Alex looks at her, this woman he once loved, now seeing her clearly for the first time in years. He sees the woman who makes his father laugh again, who brought warmth back into this house, who chose love over waiting. "Yeah, I really am," he says, and the words feel like freedom. Sarah hugs him then, a brief but genuine embrace that feels like forgiveness and new beginnings rolled into one. "Thank you," she whispers against his shoulder. As they separate, there's a sense of peace settling over the room like dust after a storm. The tension that has crackling between them for 3 years has finally dissipated, replaced by something healthier and more sustainable. David grins widely, clapping his hands together. "Well, this calls for a celebration. I'll open that bottle of wine we've been saving." As David heads to the kitchen with renewed energy, Alex and Sarah are left alone for a moment. "Are you really okay with this?" Sarah asks quietly, her voice carrying genuine concern. "I'm getting there. It's going to take time, but..." "Yeah, I think I am," Alex responds honestly. "For what it's worth, I'm sorry about how I ended things. You deserved better than a text message," Sarah says, and Alex can see the regret in her eyes. "We both made mistakes. But look how things turned out. You're happy, Dad's happy. Maybe this is how it was always supposed to be." Sarah smiles, and for the first time since Alex arrived, it reaches her eyes. "Maybe it is." David returns with the wine and 3 glasses, his face glowing with happiness. "To family," he says, raising his glass. "To family," Alex and Sarah echo. And as they clink glasses, Alex feels something he hasn't felt in 3 years, like he's finally home. As the evening progresses, the 3 of them talk and laugh together, and Alex realizes that this is what healing looks like. Not the dramatic reconciliation he might have imagined, but something quieter and more real. The love he had for Sarah doesn't disappear, but it transforms into something he can live with, something that doesn't require him to sacrifice his relationship with his father or his own peace of mind. When the evening finally winds down and they're saying their goodnights, Alex looks around the living room where he grew up, seeing it with new eyes. It's different now, marked by Sarah's presence and his father's happiness, but it's still home. And for the first time in years, Alex knows he belongs here not as the man who lost Sarah, but as the son who found his way back to his family.